Hi friends, thanks for joining me. It's Morag here, and today I shall be using the fantastic July kits, and they are jam-packed with beautiful tropical colours, leaves, flowers, all my favourite things for summer. And today I am going to be using the magicals from the colour kit to create some tropical leaves to complement my layout. So in the colour kit this month we've had 3 pots of magicals, and if you've never used them before, they are mica powders that have little elements in there. So they actually have not just the one colour, they've got like a mix or a little sprinkle of other colours in there. And in the kit we had a beautiful teal, hot pink and kind of a golden yellow. And I've mixed the blue and the yellow together to make this beautiful green colour. Now I did practice this technique several times, so whatever combination you come up with, it will probably be always unique. And by adding one or more of the other colours, you will of course get slightly different tones, which I really love. So to create the tropical flowers, it's really simple. I'm just putting down some colour in a kind of a loose leaf shape. Now I hold my hand up, I cannot draw for toffee. So if I can make these, you can definitely make them. So you just need to be a bit loose. Dilute the powders with water, as you can see there, and just go back and forth. I've made maybe 50, I made maybe 100 of these before I actually got something I liked. So if it's something you fancy doing and it's something I would suggest you should give a try, because they're quite addictive. So here's one that I made earlier, and I'm just going to add some splatters while I've got that ink on my messy mat. Just while those are drying then, you do need to let them dry off before you go on to the next stage. I thought I would put some colour onto my background, and I'm going to use the pink and the yellow to add the colour to the background. Now again, I don't do, these are beautiful vibrant colours, real jewel-like. But I'm a bit scared of bright colours sometimes, especially when it comes to mixed media, because it looks a bit frightening, I think. Actually, I should, really kind of embrace it, because I love it when it's bright underneath, and just really helps the layout to pop. But I just kind of get a bit scared. And when I look at this now, I'm thinking, wow, that does look really kind of scary to me. But then I forget, actually, you cover up a lot of it anyway. And it's nice to have that deep colour behind your embellishments, your papers and photos, because it just really is eye-catching, especially when you see it on Instagram and so on. So if you are a bit like me and steer away from bright colours, do give it a go, because actually I love how this turned out, and I might have abandoned it if I wasn't brave enough. So I really, as I say, love how it turned out. So with the magicals, as I say, I've used a coffee stirrer just to put some on my messy mat, and then just used water spray to dilute them into a kind of a paint. And because they're translucent, they really look beautiful. So on to making my leaves. They're completely dry, and I'm using a 0.1 fine liner pen in black, and I'm just going around a leaf shape. So I've had a lot of practice, or a fair amount of practice, so I kind of know what I'm doing now, but I would suggest that you actually get an example to follow. So I'm just going in and out like one of those kind of tropical leaves that you see, and I find that it's nice to be uneven, because these are supposed to be very casual leaves, not precise fine artwork. And then if you go back in the fine liner, so you're making messy lines at the on the outside of the leaf, I think they just look better. They look more like scribbled lines, and just therefore it's more forgiving when your leaves aren't very perfect like mine. They just look so much better once you've actually gone to the next few stages. So I'm just going to fussy cut these out, and I'm just I'll go around the outside, and then I will cut out some of those inside elements, just, you know, where I feel, and you can always redraw lines if you feel like it doesn't look good or you need more cut out elements. As I say, I just find with this, the kind of the messier it looks, the better it looks, but we'll see. So just take your time cutting those elements out. So I think that's nice when you've got some white space, when you've got different layers of colour, and you can really kind of personalise these. So I'm just going to add a little bit more ink in the corners there, just because there wasn't enough white space on those. Now I'm going to do a different sort of leaf here, and I think these are like banana leaves, so more tall and kind of rectangular shape, as you can see the vellum example I've got above. And that's just a case of going in and out. So actually these ones are very, very easy to do, because you just make inward strokes every now and then. And again, by making them messy, they look better. I have had so much fun making leaves recently. I have a nice little pack that I've collected. And if you have a little session making these, then you can use them at any time to enhance your layout. So they're a lot of fun. So I do urge you to give it a try. So I've got a selection of leaves that are in different sizes. And for this particular project, I imagined I was going to use some very, very big, you know, oversized leaves, and then maybe a couple of the regular sized ones. However, I think in the end, I just go with the one very large, one kind of large, and then several of the small ones. I forgot to say actually earlier, the paper that I was using to make the leaves is just watercolour paper. You don't need anything fancy. It is very thick though, the paper that I have, maybe 400 GSM or something. And something a bit thinner would be easier to work with. You'll see later that when I'm trying to give the leaves some shape, I really have to kind of work them to, because they're so thick, and which is fantastic for some projects. So depending on what you're doing, just check out some nice watercolour paper that can take, you know, a fair amount of water and ink. So onto the layout then. This bit's the easy bit, should be. As you can see in the July kits, we have so many options in terms of different textures. We have beautiful chipboard die cuts, of course. I love the vellum elements, which I think I've said, you know, every time we've spoken. So I don't know if you saw my previous videos, but there are vellum leaves in the embellishment kit, which are just fantastic. So whilst I think about it, those are dry. I'm just going to add some white splatters to those leaves. And again, these elements just kind of notch up your leaves a little bit, because they just look, I don't know, they just look more exciting or more interesting, I don't know. I use a gloss spray, a white gloss spray, a Dina Wakley white gloss spray, but of course you could use diluted acrylic ink. It's just, I found this gloss spray, I like it a lot, so I just use that until it runs out. So I'm going to just position a frame below my photo, and I'm going to cluster those beautiful vellum leaves. I'm kind of rationing myself because I don't have many left. I've gone to town using those on various projects. There were a lot of leaves in the embellishment kit, but I have used a lot. And I'm going to cluster my DIY leaves at the bottom and mix in some of the pretty vellum leaves as well. And of course I'm going to cluster the flowers from the main kit and just layer all those up together basically. So I think the July kits have just been stunning. I've made a mini book from the July kits, as well as this is my third layout. And how fantastic is that? It just keeps going on, and I've still got heaps left, so I've still got more layouts to do. We're taking a late summer holiday this year, so we won't be going till September, so I need to save some for my summer holidays. But of course my August kit has just arrived, so I'm really looking forward to using that too. So when I'm clustering my flowers and so on, I like to overlap everything. I think it just gives a more polished look maybe, rather than just letting things float around the page. So don't be afraid to overlap things, just to really give it that polished look, as I say. For my flowers, I did cut between the petals just so that I could bend those. I think it's very obvious from what you can see here, but I like to give things a bit of dimension. So the Good Vibes came with those vellum leaves again in the embellishment kit. I'm using Nuvo Deluxe glue, which dries clear, so it's really been successful at sticking down those leaves without leaving those ugly marks. But just to be safe, I did apply the glue behind the Good Vibes only piece, just in case it did show through. So I'm really liking how that looks, except for that leaf at the top. It just looks like a weird shape, so I'm just going to push it down a little bit. So just when you think you're finished, you have to kind of make an adjustment. I think in hindsight I probably needed some more of those leaves at the top just to soften it. It just looked like a big pineapple, I think. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure actually the shape that I made in the end. You know, could have been a little bit better, but I don't know. I just really like the leaves, did I say? So I'm just tucking in more of those leaves. And I'm just going to add some white splatters again. Just because I think, you know, they just, on summer layouts, I think there's something lovely about those white splatters. Probably on all layouts, really. Now, what did I say about covering up that mixed media? So you can barely see it now, I think. So I was having a panic about how much mixed media I'd put on the background, and now you can't see it. So I like to do this at the end. It's just to add some colour behind my elements. Again, you could treat it like a shadow or just some softer colour. So again, I've just used the diluted Magicals. Incidentally, I left them all on my mat, so all I need to do is, if it's dried off, is just reactivate it with some more water, and hey presto, you have more ink to use. So that rounds it up, and as you can see, I've decided to mount it on some pattern paper just to add a little bit more pink. And I really hope you like this tutorial and the techniques that I showed you. I'd love to see what you create, so don't forget to tag me in the Facebook group, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care now. Bye.